December 6th, 2011, and this is Day 9 Daily. Damn it, I missed it again. This is Day 9 Daily number 382, where we learn to be a better gamer. Oh, I really just want it to be like perfectly right there on top, so that when I do the transition from here, it doesn't go to my face. It goes to my rippling man chest and logo. No, I'm off center again. That's fine. Everything is okay. I'm going to remain calm. And very exciting news, you see this? You see this Day 9 TV shirt? I just tweeted the usual link to the Day 9 TV store where you can end up picking up one of these, but, because it's Christmas, you can get free shipping. Which means that you can get all sorts of goodies just sent to you. All you need to purchase is the material. All the manpower in between totally free, because it's not people who are shipping it, it's Santa's elves. And they work for $0 an hour. How's that for efficiency? So definitely, if you go to my Twitter, twitter.com/day9tv, you can get the code for the free shipping. Yeah! There we go. I've been working on that. For any of you who don't know, the thug stab just feels horrible, and it really, really hurts. And other exciting news about regarding Christmas, I'd like to give an extra special thanks to the gentleman who walked up to me at NASL and just dropped this in front of me and walked away. And I'm not actually going to open it until Christmas. What Christmas cheer is this? I have a present, and I'm going to put it underneath my little Day 9 tree. It's about this tall. It's a little tiny cute petite tree, and Manfred sits there, and I put on his little Christmas hat. He's so cute. Now, some of you are just thinking, gosh, Day 9, why are you in such a good mood today? Well, the answer is because it's Newbie Tuesday, and I'm really, really, really excited for today's topic. We're going to be reviewing how to think in threes. That is correct. We're going to be talking about how learning can be done 3 things at a time. All right. And of course, everyone in the chat is like, is it a bomb? What if it's a bomb, Day 9? What if that guy who tried to gift you with a present is actually a terrorist? Either way, that terrorist is far better of a gamer for having watched the Day 9 Daily. So let us talk about the act of learning. And to help me with this, we're not going to be using Notepad. No, siree. Look at this. Oh, Google Documents. Yes, I am so smart. That is so good. All right, look at me. I'm a blank document. Now, in general, there's this thing that your brain does where you watch a game and you say, hey, I want to steal that build order, right? You get some sort of inspiring thing, like you get determined to become Liquid Hero, so you're all cool. This is a happy face with sunglasses. So what you begin doing is you say, oh, he does some early expand air thing. Cool. And then you end up doing it, and then you have all these little notes. These stars are going to represent the things that you think in your head. Various thoughts. But then, what happens when you end up trying to... if you end up trying to go for another build order, right, you end up going for, I don't know, a robotics facility play or something like that. It feels like an entirely different sort of closed-off cluster, and it can be very, very difficult to get a good sense of what you actually want to try to do. In other words, the big struggle that often many people have is they can't quite figure out how to train themselves to end up discovering another topic. So, as I drink this delicious water, I want to remind everyone of something I bring up a lot. You'll hear me say this in so many different ways. The basic thing that I say is, all you got to do is know how to ask yourself questions and then be kind of methodical about answering them. That's, for many, is way too vague, right? Someone will say, in each individual circumstance it seems okay, but the general statement seems vague. For instance, someone will say something like, hey, when is a good time to push in Terran vs. Zerg if I'm going Marine Tank? I'll say something like, well, why not just try to do it at 8 minutes? And if that doesn't work, try to do it at 9 minutes. And if that's feeling better, then try to go for 10 minutes. And if that's feeling worse, then maybe try 9 minutes and 15 seconds or 8 minutes and 45 seconds. You're just sort of this testing, iterating process. Or, some people will ask about mechanics. How do we end up improving this or that? What I want to do is I want to come over and I want to look at a build that Liquid Hero does in a really crazy game. So this is the order we're going to go in. Watch the crazy game. And then we're going to break it down slowly. And we're going to end up thinking about things 3 at a time. This is the order of the daily. And of course, notice that I did it in 3s right there. God, I'm so consistent. So the effect that this is going to be is we're going to start with a really broad idea. We're just going to look at the game. We're just going to snatch something up. And then we're just going to do 3 little tidbits at a time and work on those. And then we're going to do 3 more at a time as we start to learn those a little bit. We're not going to try to gobble up everything at once. So that is how I want to begin. We're going to begin part 1 by just zooming in and watching this pretty damn quickly. They're going to say some things in Korean to each other. It's going to be very scary. I don't speak Korean. Yuck. We're going to turn the sound on. Yes, that's right. Take a shot. Day 9 forgot to turn the sound on. So, let us suppose that you have just opened up this Liquid Hero game for the first time ever, and you're going to watch this game, and what we're going to do is we're going to see that this game is actually quite crazy. This ends up being an extremely nutty game. What time is it? Is it 7:15? You know what? I'm going to do this. I rambled way too much at the start. I really hated the way that intro went. That should have been like 60 seconds, but instead it was 4 minutes of rambling. For some reason, my brain ain't quite firing. What do you guys think about just restart? I'm just going to restart. I'm just going to start one more time. I think that's a first. Is that a first? That was so poorly done. That was a terrible presentation by me. Holy shit, that was so bad. Wow, that was probably the worst intro I've ever done in my life. Fuck it, man. You know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. It's going to be so much shorter, I can't believe it, and I'm going to even use the same jokes. I'm even going to use the same jokes. Line them up. Oh, God. Alright. Alright, let me delete this document. I swear to God, I'm actually going to be clear this time. God. Kind of funny, I went for the Google Doc instead of the regular notepad. Alright, you know what? I'm mortal, alright? I'm mortal. Look, I'm generally pretty on the ball, alright? I'm mortal, what can I say? That was, God almighty, before I restart, holy shit, was anyone even listening to me and going, that makes sense? That didn't make any sense. That was the shittiest explanation of anything. Well, here's the thing, we're gonna watch, and then you're gonna have questions. Sometimes what I say, well, I don't know, well, here's the thing, I say a thing that's not very clear, but look, let's just jump into the game. Let me back out of the game and open up the Google Doc. What the hell was I even talking about? I'm gonna just speak a little bit more slowly. Wow. Wow. And believe me, if you ever think, man, he's messing up, maybe I should tell him, don't worry. I'm always aware. I can feel it. I just push through. All right. Going live in day 9, 8. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday, December 6, 2011, and this is Day 9 Daily number 382, where we learn to be a better gamer. Here's another attempt for me to do this trick. Oh, I almost had my logo on my shirt lined up with the overlay. God, I've been trying to do that since before the show started. I get a little farther away every time. So, dear archive viewers, I'm sorry for my inaccurate chest. And very exciting news. This particular shirt and all the Day 9 store goody goodness, I just tweeted a link to it because for Christmas it's free shipping. Isn't that cool? There's a free link if you go to my Twitter, twitter.com/day9tv. What better time to gift someone with the Be a Better Gamer paraphernalia than when elves are shipping things out for free, because the little elves work for $0 an hour and released a promotional code that I have tweeted. So, woo! Help support the Christmas love, etc. Cool. Many of you on the archives are probably noticing that that looks rehearsed. And it kind of was rehearsed once. I actually got 10 minutes into the daily, realized I was making no sense at all, and said, screw it, I'm restarting. So I tried to make the elf joke that I made before, but it came out better when it was natural in the first case. When it was second time around, it was way more flat. So I want you to think of me doing it in a good way and go ha, ha, ha. Excellent. Now that we got that out of the way, we're going to go into the topic of today's daily that I call thinking in threes. In general, you hear me bring up this idea that the fundamental tool to being able to solve anything is just asking good questions and testing them. So for instance, you'll hear me at the end of a daily, someone will say, well, when's a good time to attack? And I'll say something like, all right, you ask yourself the question, just start experimenting around. Say, I'm going to do my marine tank push at 8 minutes. And if that doesn't work, maybe I'll try 8:30. And if that feels a little better, maybe I'll go to 9. And I can start experimenting with where I can end up with something that's really optimal. So, in general, when I end up trying to present games, often I like the one-sided, crushing, dominating games because it's clear and crisp. I like a game such as, here's a tank push that you do on one base, and you just attack and win with it. A 1-1-1 build, for all the crap that people love to give it, I would love to give one of my low-level friends that build and say, just execute it and see what it feels like to have a plan and to follow through with it. Sweet. Now, the issue that, of course, everyone will end up having is, well, when I do something that's not a 1-1-1, let's say I do an early expand, I have all these questions that come up. It's not just a win button that I can just press like crazy or a GG button that he'll be pressing because I'm so good. It has this feeling of varying around. Or hell, even when I watch someone like Liquid Hero, who we're going to watch today, there's all sorts of unreal, crazy, all over the place action. What do? How do I end up solving this particular issue? So that's one thing I want to plop down in your mind right now, that, geez, how do we end up dealing with all the variation that can go on in a game? I can hardly wrap my head around it. The second thing that I want to bring up is that when I tell someone, oftentimes, especially on Newbie Tuesdays, I end up proposing an idea like, hey, do a 3-gate early expand, which is always my go-to example. I will amazingly see people do stuff way out of order. I'll say something like, I want you to go gateway, robo, expand, and then build 4 more gateways. In that order, gateway, robo, expand, then build 4 gateways. I'll say that simple structure, and yet the replays that are submitted will be like gateway, 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 expand, gateway, robo. There's this sort of meandering arrival at something similar. It's not like they did their own separate damn thing, but there's an issue that happens where if you're trying to gobble up too much at once, things just fall off the bandwagon. So here we have crazy complexity, ever-changing nuttiness, crazy games like the one we're about to watch, and an inability to keep everything in your head at once. Here are 2 struggles. Everyone has this struggle. Freaking everybody. Grandmasters have trouble keeping everything in their head, remembering everything, even answering all the right questions. What do we do? Holy shit, that was so much better than my last introduction. Oh, thank God I restarted this daily. Woo! Man, you archives viewers, you're lucky, man. Alright, so that is the topic of today's daily. What we're going to do is a method that I'm really excited to present. It's called thinking in threes. I'm actually going to keep my mechanics kind of off the table. I'm not even going to bring them up that much. This is all I'm really going to do. I want to come over here to my unbelievable, awesome notepad. It's even labeled. It's a Google Doc, so I can color code things. So I just want to put, yes, not black text with a black background. Let's do black text with a white background. Better. I want to begin just by saying basic mechanics goals. I want to say keep your money low. Never stop building probes, never miss pylons. There we go. Here's my basic mechanics goals. Now I'm going to add on stars because I actually like stars a little bit better. Yeah, and let's underline this. Cool. There we go. This is all I really want to say about mechanics. Right? They're obviously probably one of the most important elements to any strategy is just making sure stuff happens properly. But what I want to do is I want to step into an absolutely bonkers game that Liquid Hero played. So, before we begin, I just want to briefly review that intro to ideas. So much crazy stuff going on, and I want to be that good. Yeah. Damn, I have a hard time keeping everything in my head at once. And we're going to begin by thinking in threes. Thinking in threes. We're going to do things 3 at a time. We're going to see exactly what I mean in just a moment, but first I want to come back to this game between Liquid Hero and somebody from Korea. So I have to rewind because I started the game in my original thing and I was just like, woo, that's yucky, that's terrible, that's awful. And just gave up midway through. So now let's watch kind of a crazy game from Liquid Hero. What we're going to do here in part 1 is we're going to introduce the game so that way everyone's familiar with it. And we're going to talk not just about why it's so brilliant from Liquid Hero's part, but also why this can potentially be very difficult to follow, to sort of pick up and mimic. First, I'm just going to throw this out right now. There's no big attack that ends up killing the opponent ever. It's tons of little shit. Tons and tons and tons and tons. If you do something like a 1-1-1 build, there is an attack. And if it doesn't work, you do the same attack again. Not in this game that we're going to see between Hero and his opponent, who, as far as I'm concerned, is some guy from Korea, because I can't speak Korean. So we see this early expand. I'm never going to pause this game. I'm going to keep it at ×4, so that way we don't put too much information in our brain. Okay, here we go. He's doing an early expand Stargate. I don't care about any more complexity than that simple statement. Oh, wow, he's doing some Zealot kind of move-outs. We see our opponent is going for, ooh, it looks like Zergling Infestor. We haven't actually seen that in quite some time. That's kind of a nifty style. Doesn't look like Liquid Hero. Yeah, it looks like he doesn't actually even know about that Infestor play at this point in time. Kind of an interesting attempt to get our third up kind of quickly. We do end up losing those Zealots. I see a couple more gateways. I see some upgrades happening. I see Twilight Council. Hey, is that a Templar Archives? It is. Looks like we see some Void Ray Phoenix harass. Okay. So already this game has a good bit of complexity because we're going air into Zealot with legs and Templar into a kind of a fast third. We're doing these weird warp-in harasses at the top. And I'll be honest, not many people get Storm as quickly as Liquid Hero. So this can be somewhat uncomfortable. And the Robo's coming up after he ends up getting his third base down. Where is the Robo anyways? You know what? I can't find it. There it is. Awesome. Templar defending. We look at the mini-map. We're keeping some of these Phoenixes out poaching. Just making sure that everything is in order. Now, I do just want to briefly pause my describing of the game to just note that, hell, if you watch this game, you might be drooling over being Liquid Hero, all these cool wall-offs, but this is kind of a lot to keep in your head already. Suddenly Warp Prism Harass is coming out. Look at this army, right? We are at 16 minutes and 40 seconds, and that looks quite small. It's actually kind of amazingly small. We got a lot of High Templar coming out. We're also going to see Hero keeping a good chunk of his Templar back home for the defense. We actually end up seeing a double Warp Prism Harass coming up. Jeez, is he actually expanding again? You bet your ass he is. Come on, do it, Hero. Do it. Do it, Hero. Build a Nexus. Well, whatever. He's ending up doing a little bit of a push. Oh gosh, there's Brood Lords coming up. Here's one Warp Prism. Here's another Warp Prism. And you'll note that there's no big attack that Hero's doing. He's doing these Warp Prism harasses. He has not really engaged directly. He's taken 4 bases kind of quickly. More Warp Prism harassment going on all over the place. This is probably the first actual push that Hero's done. Blinking up, losing some stuff, blinking back, losing some more stuff, pulling away again, Warp Prisming in the main, Warp Prisming, expanding, moving over, taking a 5th base. Are starting to get the sense that there's no simple, structured build. Archons coming up. When do we get Archons? There's a reasonable question to ask. When should we have gotten Warp Prisms? How do I know that the 4th is a good time to take? Should I be getting armor? Well, gee, what happens when this sort of crazy thing ends up happening? Apparently Liquid Hero's answer is you just kind of walk up and kill it eventually. I'm not going to give you the pleasure of looking at that final battle. I'll show you that in a moment. So, alright, cool. What have we done? We've hopped into the shoes of an average, everyday SC2 player who loves watching pros, loves being inspired, and he wants to be like Liquid Hero. Seems good, right? Seems pretty good. What I want to do is I'm going to call this thinking in terms of threes. What we're going to do is we're going to make 3 statements of what we're going to try to do. They can be conditional, they can have to do with our units, they can have to do with our buildings, but we're going to do 3 at a time. Just 3 at a time. And an important idea that I want you to so importantly do this. Screw it, guys. It's importantly that you do this. I want you to take your notes and your ideas slowly. 3 is an important number here. If you work on exactly one thing at a time, sure, that will help, but it can maybe be a little bit slowly. It can maybe be a little bit slow. I don't know why I'm making everything adverbs. It can feel a little bit slow and dull. If you try to do too much, you feel a little bit lost. Just do it 3 at a time. Also, very importantly, do not just spam notes like, okay, I want to expand and then air and do, like, don't do these small notes like exp, air, zel, leg. These sorts of things, sure, they communicate the idea, but I want you to love making things pretty. So, for instance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to color code things. Black is timing of buildings, basic strategy. And I'm going to make blue things to do with my units. I want you to get in the habit of making these types of notes nice and pretty and fun to just look at. Now, I know a lot of people don't want you to do that. I know that, right? However, of all people out there, I would say that my brain is pretty damn hyperactive and pretty much like, damn, go, come on, let's do this, yeah. But there comes a point where, especially when I was doing math homework in college, I would just want to get it over with, so I would just sort of write it out. I wouldn't make it that pretty. But once I actually started color coding stuff like this, it would take me a little while longer, and it would be so much easier for me to work through things methodically. It was so much more fun. So what we're going to do is we're going to now write down 3 things at a time for our strategy. We're just going to begin with those. And guys, let's just look at this game. I'm just going to write down some overall basic stuff. I don't know, early expand Stargate. That seems like one thing. All right, cool. Notice how broad it is. Early expand plus Stargate. And feel free to sort of like extend these notes, like early game, early expand plus Stargate. And then in the late game, or in the mid game, relatively early third base while getting fast Templar. And then the last thing is expand a ton and harass with Warp Prism while moving around with Army. No big attacks. Alright, cool. I have my 3 things done. Excellent. And now I want you to actually just quit writing stuff down. I actually don't want you to do that much more. This is the importance of being slow. This is the importance of being slow with everything that you do. It's easy to get into this habit. Let me actually, hell, you know what? We're going to do this like bright, dark crimson red. This is a bad idea. Doing stuff like getting in the habit of writing down, okay, 15 Nexus, 17 this, 18, 19 that, whatever, right? I don't want you to get into this habit, because what happens when you are at 60 food? It's a little bit too much for the brain to do. So when I suggest that you end up doing this kind of note-taking, and I know a lot of you don't have time to take a lot of notes. It's fine to do it mentally as well. I just, again, would encourage you to do this. It's so important. just stop here and play a game. Try to go early expand in Stargate. Try to get a relatively early third while getting fast Templar. And expand a ton and harass with Warp Prism while moving around with an army. And not really do any big attacks. I want you just to do that much. We went through the game really quickly. And we got that much out of it. And now, as we go play some more games, we're going to have more questions that pop up. And we're going to look at how to start working on things 3 at a time. Working on things in terms of 3s. We're going to take a break for part number 1. When we come back to part number 2, we're going to begin fleshing this out into an actual detailed, clear, crisp, clean build so we can become looking like more of a liquid hero ourselves. Oh, damn, son. Shit. All right. See you in a sec.